Jazzcast Pros.
Hey, do you have 15 minutes to talk about your mental health? Good, because that's about how long this podcast is. Welcome to Healthy Illness Podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Marie, and today's topic is all about celebrating a not so great time in your life. The Healthy Illness Podcast is a podcast helping you build healthier relationships while living life, but also living with mental health conditions. Yesterday was the anniversary of my divorce being finalized. And I wanted to share with you a little bit about the grieving and perhaps celebratory process that I've gone through over the last 7 years. So 7 is a big number for a lot of people. It means completion, among other things. And so I wanted to take time to talk about and give space to what many people deem disappointing and grief related, kind of feelings, and others see separation, divorce as something to celebrate. I'm not really celebratory about being divorced. I don't celebrate being divorced at all. I don't celebrate the end of a marriage. I don't celebrate the issues that arise with children that go through divorce. I don't celebrate. There's really nothing to celebrate. What I do is hold space for myself and knowing that the best decision was made for the situation that I was in. And so, just a little background. I was separated for about 6 years before our divorce was finalized, but we never separated with the intent of getting back together. And so a lot of stress personally, and I can't even say a lot of stress went into those 6 years because I was learning how to find myself, learning how to know me, learning how to live a healthy life. Also realizing the pros and cons of the situations, plural, that I put my children and ex-husband in. I acknowledge the difficulty and pain that they may have gone through in their grieving processes across the board, and also my own. Because again, I didn't enter into that relationship in order to be divorced. And so why talk about it? I'm talking about it, one, because I don't talk about it. And it is a very pivotal part in my life and a very pivotal part in my mental health journey. And so the separation, which then led to the divorce, the separation at the point of separation, the relationship was over. The finality of it and going through that process was not intended to be drawn out, but it was. And so having been separated for 13 years has allowed me to, again, go on this journey of learning Kelly, of learning how to be me in a space that I had never been in before. And what I will add to that mix is that all of my children are adults now. They have been adults for quite some time. They're living their lives in relationships and working and paying taxes and all the things. And so I think comfortably at a place where their lives aren't impacted on a day-to-day by us having this conversation right now. And what I think is also important is to hold space for all of the things that you've been through in life. And so this is less about him. This is not about him, and less about me than it is about me holding space for you while you may be going through your own separations, your own grief in a relationship, grieving, in a relationship, your own rediscovery of yourself. And perhaps those separations will end not in a permanent or final, permanent's the right word, permanent separation, but maybe some of the relationships will be restored, right? It does not always mean that separation of married people ends in divorce. It doesn't mean that separation of partnered people, end in a ending of the relationship, but that does happen. And what does that mean for you? What does that mean for me? How do we begin to grow and develop new identities, perhaps? For me, because I had children young, earliest first child was born when I was 17, a couple months before my 18th birthday. And I can say, and we've had this conversation, right? Like at that point until 2013, the fall of 2013, I did not know how to have a personal identity. I thought I did. And I was not the type of person who tied their identity to their children or to their partner. But so I did not do that in an outward way. But internally, I had never learned how to be me. I'd never had the time and space to develop my own likes and dislikes because I was always taking care of someone else by way of children or always, in this relationship. And so saying goodbye and ending a thing can be both a negative and positive experience. Again, not celebrating a relationship not working, but it's owning who you are, owning your contributions to the dissolving of the relationship, getting to the point where it's not about what they did, but what you did, what I did, right? How did I contribute? What was my role in getting past, the finger pointing? While I was not a big finger pointer, I had to get to the point of owning my mess, owning what I accepted and didn't accept, owning what I didn't give, owning what I did give, owning all of me in that relationship and what I brought to the table. I hate that term. What do you bring to the table? But because I'm talking about mess, bringing mess, to the table and messiness. And so I was at a event today with Calming Nature, celebrating Brunch for Bumps and the 10-year anniversary, or 10 years of Brunch for Bumps. And I just loved being in that space and being with families and couples on their childbirth journey, in this part of their relationships. And I was honored to be in a space that felt comfortable. It felt right. It felt good. And I loved seeing the families being together. I loved seeing the couples, laughing and being at the resource tables and asking questions and really planning for the future of their families. And so I very much love and honor marriage. I don't believe in living in yesterday. And so I can't say if I did it again or if I could do it over again or if I knew what I didn't know, because I didn't know what I didn't know. And if I did know what I didn't know, would I have made the same decisions? Like, I don't know. And so I don't want to live in that yesterday because I can't do anything about it. But what I can do and what we're doing, right, is honoring the past, the good and the bad, and learning from it so that we could be better today. And if gifted tomorrow, be better tomorrow. When I look back, I'm appreciative of my own healing, of the time it has taken me to pour into me, the time that I have spent and would like to spend more of with my children. Again, they're all adults out living their own adult lives. They have their own highs and lows, their own issues, their own things that they're dealing with, but do believe and would like to be able to have, honestly, the relationship that they want to have. But also, I don't know, that's a interesting place for me. I hadn't planned on going that route, but I'm thinking about it. Like, what would I want that to be like? And I don't know, but I do honor the present and my healing journey as well as theirs, and what that means for our relationships across the board, including that with my former husband. And so life goes on, and we hopefully, in moving forward and moving past injury and moving past hurt and hurt feelings and end up in a place of healing and wholeness can honor the past, can celebrate the joys that were, because everything was not negative. In honoring and holding space and celebrating the joys that were, being able to appreciate the joys that are. I would, I guess, make that my suggestion for you. If you are living through a divorce or a separation or ending of a partnership, that you honor what was good. If the relationship is at its end and it is time to accept today and be in today and what that means, with what your life means without that relationship, is to honor the healing process that you can go on. It's a choice. You don't have to heal. You can be bitter and hurt for the rest of your life, but you can also heal. You can also heal. You can also accept the joy of what was, even if it was one moment or so many you can't remember or so many you can't keep track. And also mourning what was. Some, folks give no time for mourning. And it doesn't mean that you have to mourn the person and the relationship that you were in. That happens for many of us. But again, perhaps it's the ideal. It's mourning what you thought it would be, mourning the work you put into it that didn't come out in the way that you wanted it to, mourning what you built. We build. And having to be in a place of relearning yourself. So mourning who you were. And I guess the celebratory part, if I'm clearly using that word, is celebrating the present moment because it's a gift. Celebrating your healing, which has nothing to do with the mourning. They're separate things that are happening, but celebrating that journey, celebrating what that looks like, celebrating to doing it again. And I think that's where some of us get stuck, in the wanting or not wanting to do it again. And by do it again, I mean building your own identity, reestablishing yourself, going out in the world and people saying, oh, you're not together. Oh, what happened to that relationship? Oh, what? Oh, you guys. Oh, what? You don't owe anybody any explanation. Neither one of you. Neither one of y'all got to say anything to anybody about your relationship and it ending. If that is a choice that you make, what honors the good in that person? What honors their healing journey? What honors the person they will become? To me, those are the things that we share. Not necessarily this person didn't do, or I felt I always did, but you love that person. You love something about them. You wanted to be with them for some reason. So honoring the good. And no, I'm not talking about relationships that have abuse in them at all. That's a different conversation. But I am talking about the relationship between two adults that intended to be forever, intended to be healthy, intended to be happy, intending to building something great or something mediocre. I don't know, whatever your goals was, but honoring that as you also honor who you are and who you are becoming. Finding the joy. We can live in the land of misery. It's out there. You could just roll around in it and just be miserable. Or you can find the light. You can find the joy. You can find the peace if you choose to. There's therapists out there that will help you work through your issues. I'm saying issues, but you might not think you have issues. So let me not tell you what you got. But to be able to walk you through that healing process. There are groups, there are self-help options out there for you. If you already know what you need to do and just need to do it, then do it. But for people that that may not, know what to do. Let them know. There's therapists out there, man. There's relationship experts. Check people credentials though, because everybody out here saying they got degrees don't have degrees, or saying they have certifications don't have certifications, or they legitimately do and aren't good. That's a thing too, right? Like they actually did the work, they have the certifications, they sat for the exams, they passed, and they're not good. Like that is also a thing. So if you're seeking support and healing in that way, just to be mindful of your advocacy and your ability to leave that situation too, if it is not beneficial to you. So I leave you with that. It is okay to mourn what was and all the things you wanted it to be. And it is okay to embrace and honor and love and celebrate who you are and who you're becoming. Not because that thing failed, not because the relationship ended, not because whatever, negative happened, but because you are an incredible human being. Even if you were a shitty person in the relationship, you can heal, you can grow, you can change, and you can be better. Those things you can celebrate. So until the next time, I encourage you to be the light. I'm out here celebrating the growth.